Hello and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Justyna, and if you're a returning viewer, welcome back and thank you for joining me today. So here today, I'm going to talk about the full moon in Capricorn happening on June 21st, 22nd, depending on where in the world you live, at 1 degree of Capricorn. Now, before we get into the video, I just wanted to say big congratulations to the two winners who won the Sunday contest. So you will see the names of those who won at the bottom of the screen. And if one of these names is your name, then don't forget that to get in touch with me via email so that we can schedule your 30 minutes consultation. So I look forward to hearing from you. Now, if you didn't win, then don't worry, there'll be more happening this month. This month is my birthday, so I want to share a little bit love and my expertise to help and guide those who want it or need it. A full moon occurs when the sun and the moon are in opposition in the opposing signs. This is when the moon is fully visible in the sky. Now, this is the middle of the cycle, of the lunation cycle. And during a full moon, this is when we become more aware of the situation that has been brewing for quite some time. Now, here, think about what happened in your life around 18 months ago. Now, bear in mind that we are going to have two full months in Capricorn in June and July. So one in June, one in July, and they will be at very interesting degrees. The first one, the one in June, it will be at 1 degree of Capricorn, the next one at 29 degrees. So very different degrees that signify something different. First of all, the very early degree signifies that there is the story is still premature. So there is a certain degree of that premature flavor to this full moon. However, the full moon at 29 degrees in July in Capricorn, this will be about a now or never feeling, a feeling of urgency, a feeling like we're running out of time. Right, if your birthday falls on the 21st, 22nd, then this coming year is huge for you because you will be dealing with major endings, closures in your life as you prepare for a new chapter to begin emerge in your life. And if you have any placement at 1 degree of Capricorn, Cancer, Aries, or Libra, then here this full moon is also very significant. Whenever a natal planet is activated during a full moon or a new moon, this is usually when things really, really happen. Now, the ruler of this full moon is Saturn. Saturn rules Capricorn, and interestingly, Saturn is unaspected at the time of this full moon. Now, an unaspected planet is one that doesn't form any major aspects to other planets. And in astrology, an unaspected planet can symbolize an energy that operates somewhat independently and may not be strongly influenced by other planetary energies. Now, in mundane astrology, on the other hand, an unaspected Saturn could indicate a sense of isolation, or perhaps a sense of restriction or a lack of connection to established structures and authorities on a societal level. Now, the absence of major aspects to Saturn may also suggest challenges in effectively implementing legislation or perhaps maintaining social order or establishing stable governance structures at this time. Now, from this perspective, an unaspected Saturn could also symbolize a disconnect or perhaps a lack of harmony between the traditional systems of authority and the broader population. Now, this may manifest as struggles in maintaining law and order, or perhaps difficulties in implementing long-term policies, or a general sense of rigidity within societal institutions. Now, apart from this, unaspected Saturn may also highlight a need for self-reliance or perhaps resilience at societal level as well. It could also suggest that traditional structures and systems may not provide or may not seem that they can provide as much support and guidance as needed. And this can generally lead to a greater emphasis upon individual responsibility, self-sufficiency collectively within a population. Now, here this full moon also forms an out of sign square with Neptune in Pisces, and this can create a really, really powerful, potentially even confusing dynamic between Capricorn's practicality and Neptune's dreamy nature. And this can generally lead to challenges in distinguishing reality from fantasy. But it also offers an opportunity for spiritual growth and transformation. So here, by finding a balance between imagination and determination, we can gain clarity and purpose during this time. Now, on a personal level, this full moon may also highlight areas where we need to let go of rigid expectations or perhaps embrace a more adaptable approach. Now, it's a time for generally releasing old patterns, old beliefs that no longer serve us. And this is also about opening up to new possibilities because healing, emotional release may also be very much facilitated by this full moon's illuminating energy. All right, so now let's see what this full moon will bring and mean for us on a deeper personal level. I follow Western astrology, tropical zodiac, and now I'm going to share my screen with you so that you can see the chart of this full moon. So thank you very much, and let's begin. All right, so hello Aries and welcome to your horoscope. We've got a full moon in Capricorn happening in your 10th house, and the 10th house deals with our career, our profession, our career objectives, our public image, public reputation, our status. So whenever we could get married, have a baby, get engaged, divorced, our status changes, and this also is influenced by the energies of that 10th house. Now, yes, so basically a full moon, we've got two full moons here, as I mentioned earlier, one in June, one in July. This is happening at a very early degree of Capricorn. So we could be dealing with a premature situation. We've got a square to Neptune in Pisces as well, which could potentially overcloud your judgment and create a little bit of confusion. I think many Aries will be reassessing their career stand and their long-term goals and hopes. But overall here, with the full moon shining its light on your career, on your ambitions, public recognition, this full moon might really urge you to assess or reassess your professional achievements, accomplishments. Perhaps you'll be also setting long-term goals, objectives. I think you might be asking yourself whether you're satisfied with the current situation, career situation, or whether something needs to change. Might be extra ambitious around this time. You might also have the strong desire for success, for gaining recognition for your accomplishments, for example. But at the same time, for some, it could play out in a way, especially with two full months in this area of life, June, July. I think this is when you might be also, you might want to move up in your career ladder. Now, it might not apply to everyone, but I think with so much emphasis upon that 10th house energy, I think, and Saturn soon stationing retrograde, I think this full moon is just the beginning of what's about to come for some. I think if there's some kind of dissatisfaction, at least a little bit, this will show up and during these full moons energies. And this can in turn prompt you to reassess, reevaluate your stand within your career. And you might be also asking yourself whether your career goals, objectives align with your life's purpose. Now, here we've got a full moon. This full moon is squaring Neptune in Pisces. And Saturn is also unaspected, as I mentioned earlier, which could also make some Aries rising feel that perhaps you need to take charge of your career, because if you don't do it, then no one else will. So this kind of theme could also come up. Now, with the square to Neptune in Pisces, this is, here the squares represent tension, and there could be some tension between your career, your public image, and illusion. So you might feel uncertain or perhaps you might feel caught up in illusions when it comes to your professional goals, objectives, hopes for the future. And it's really important during this time that you try to avoid being influenced by some unrealistic expectations that you may have of yourself, perhaps some blurred boundaries even. So I think this full moon is great for taking a closer look at your objectives, at your career goals, and perhaps see how they relate to your current reality, especially in terms of your career path and public reputation. So here, by balancing inspiration, idealism, and with that practical energy of Capricorn, and also by addressing any tendencies towards escapism or self-deception in your professional life, you can really navigate the energies of this full moon with lots of strength and fulfillment in the long term. All right, so thank you, Aries, and let's move into it. Taurus. Hello, Taurus, and welcome. You've got ninth house activation here. So your ninth house is activated during this full moon. There will be two full moons, one at the very early degree of Capricorn, the other one at the very late. So the early degree, as I mentioned earlier, represents potentially a premature situation and something that will develop in the upcoming weeks. Saturn, the ruler of this full moon, is unexpected. And at the same time, it will be retrograde from the 29th of June. So I think for some Taurus rising, this could play out in a way that you will be reviewing, reassessing your purpose, your life philosophy, your life principles. Here, the ninth house symbolizes also, the ninth house full moon symbolizes a time of seeking a balance or a greater understanding of that practical side of life, of idealism. But at the same time, this full moon also highlights the importance of exploring that philosophical and spiritual side of your life. But at the same time, you might feel like you want to gain a deeper understanding of your own beliefs, of your values as well. Now, here with its this strong influence of this full moon here happening twice in the same area of life here, June, July. You might have this really strong urge to expand your horizons, wisdom, for traveling, for freeing yourself from some really heavy energies. I think it's there's a lot of energy connected on the one hand to exploration and responsibility, and I think also taking charge of your life without really caring too much about what others think about what you want to do. It's about spreading your wings or growing your wings. Now, at the same time, so full moon in the ninth house. This is also perhaps when you might be studying, reading, researching, and this full moon might also prompt you to re-examine your long-term goals and perhaps think deeply how you can reach your goals, your dreams, through persistence, through work, hard work. What would it take to reach your deepest desires, for example? Now, at the same time, Saturn is unexpected. So it's also about taking charge of your destiny, taking charge of your life as well. Now, this full moon also squares Neptune in Pisces, so bear that in mind. And there could be some kind of tension that could arise between your need for structure, discipline, order, and your desire for spiritual or perhaps imaginative pursuits, goals, dreams, hopes. And here, this conflicting energy between that practical side of your nature and idealism can create a certain degree of challenges, especially when it comes to finding a balance. And you may struggle to keep your goals, hopes, dreams grounded in reality because of a Neptune perhaps overclouding your judgment or making you overly dreamy or overly idealistic. And at the same time, this could also lead to ignoring those practical considerations that can lead to essentially confusion or disappointment. So here, you've got this amazing opportunity to integrate your dreams, your hopes, your wishes with realistic planning. So it's all about being realistic, grounded in reality. Yes, you can dream. Yes, you can, set some interesting goals and hopes for the future. But at this point, I think this full moon wants you to be realistic and dream big, but see what is achievable at this point in your life, so that you don't experience dissatisfaction or perhaps a burnt out. Okay, so thank you very much, Taurus. And now let's have a look at Geminis. Geminis, this is happening in your 8th house, the house of depth, well, depths and depth as well. So the 8th house has deep and profound energy, and prepare for a deep transformation here in June and July. With 2 full moons influencing this area of your life, at this point, this could be about a premature situation, or perhaps a situation that reached its peak, but it's still in the early stage. And here we've got really powerful and transformative energy here of this full moon. And generally, you might have this strong desire to dive deep into your emotions, into your psyche. Perhaps this is about uncovering any underlying issues that connected to power, connected to control, connected to intimacy. At the same time, whatever energies, whatever experiences you go through around this full moon can lead to personal growth and personal renewal on a big scale. Now, Saturn is unaspected here during this time. So, as mentioned in the previous horoscopes, this is about taking charge of your life. This is about remaining determined and consistent as well. But perhaps this is also about relying on your own efforts, perhaps relying on yourself. Being self-resilient to a certain extent during this full moon, perhaps not having too high expectations of others. Now, we've got a square to Neptune happening during this time as well. So there's this conflicting energy, a pull between practicality and illusion. And while Capricorn urges discipline and responsibility, Neptune's dreamy influence may create uncertainty and confusion, and especially in matters involving shared resources, intimacy, transformation. So it's really crucial during this time that you find a healthy balance between these two energies and stay, well, be mindful of any potential deception, especially also when it comes to any investments that you will be making or thinking about making around this time. So here you've got this amazing opportunity to reevaluate also your investments, your partnerships, and this full moon in Capricorn may also shine a light on any hidden financial matters. And take this time to let go of old patterns and embrace a more empowered way of being. Trust in the process and generally allow yourself to go through this maybe necessary transformation. Thank you very much. And let's look at the next sign. Cancers, welcome. Right, so we've got a 7th house activated. We will have 2 full moons happening here as well, one at an early degree and the other one at a late degree. An early degree, even though a full moon is about a breakthrough, letting go, a peak of a situation that would have already been an ongoing thing, so to speak, for quite some time. But here with that early degree, there is some kind of premature energy. And here, full moon in the 7th house, so the 7th house energy of a full moon turns your attention upon your partnerships, one-to-one connections, your marriage, your relationships, contracts you have with other people. So during this time, you might be taking a closer look at your commitments, at your responsibilities, at power dynamics within your relationships. And This is an amazing chance to reassess the practicality and long-term potential of your partnerships, relationships. Now, emotions will be running high, probably as per that full moon influence. And here, this full moon might also prompt you to address any potential issues regarding the issue of boundaries, structure, and mutual support within your relationships. Let's not forget that we also have a square to Neptune in Pisces, an out of sign square. And this square adds a really interesting dynamic to this full moon. So here, while Capricorn emphasizes stability, structure, discipline in relationships, Neptune's influence brings potential for illusion, confusion, delusion. So generally, this aspect can lead to uncertainty within your relationships or partnerships, as well as potential challenges related to boundaries, expectations as well within your relationships. And it could also affect clear communication potentially. So it's really essential to communicate openly, clearly, to be as authentic as possible around this time, and to generally be realistic about your expectations, about how things are, because under the influence of these energies, there is a potential for disillusionment or idealization. And here, striving for that balance between practicality and empathy will be the key during this full moon. Okay, so thank you very much, Cancers. Now let's have a look at Leos. Hello, Leos, and welcome. We've got a full moon happening in your 6th house. So the first thing what came into my mind with 2 full moons in the 6th house in June and July: medical health checkups, medical appointments, blood tests. I think there will be quite a lot of that for Leo rising in the individual's lifestyle changes, and also possibly work-related shifts, changes, perhaps coworkers leaving, joining, for example. Right, so that's a general overview. But overall here, the theme of this full moon is, of course, connected to your work, to your employment, and to your health, to your daily routines, daily life, your lifestyle. And overall, this full moon suggests a time to really concentrate on practical matters. This is an opportunity for establishing healthy habits and find fulfilling through meaningful work, through contribution to your community, for example. Here with Leo on your ascendant, you probably thrive making positive impact. And here this full moon is an opportunity for doing so. Now, at the same time, this full moon will also highlight the need for balance between your professional responsibilities, duties, work-related duties, and your personal well-being. Because very often with that 6th house activation, we become workaholics, and there's so much happening in our daily life that we forget about our own health and well-being and our own physical body. Now, at the same time here, yes, so prioritize your health. And I think it's also about finding harmony between your work life and your well-being. And this is an opportunity also for setting realistic goals, for adopting more of a disciplined approach to your daily routine, daily habits, daily life. Now, at the same time, we also have a square to Neptune in Pisces. This is an out of sign square, and it can generally bring to light issues with maintaining boundaries in your everyday experiences, situations at your work. And perhaps this is also about distinguishing between fact and illusion in your work sphere, in your work environment, but also in your health, in your daily routines. Here with that square to Neptune and that emphasis upon the 6th house, yes, you might be stimulated to it might be tempting during this time to get lost in your spiritual, some creative pursuits, but at the same time, it's essential to also remember to prioritize practical duties, tasks, and responsibilities. So I think the key with this full moon is to remember about distinguishing their reality from illusion. But at the same time, this is also about staying disciplined within oneself. All right, so let's have a look at the next sign. Thank you. Leos. Virgos. Virgos, welcome. This is happening in your fifth house. So anything to do with your children, romantic side of life, creativity, fun, pleasure, entertainment. And overall here we've got that strong focus upon creativity, self-expression, romance, hobbies, children. Now, having a full moon in the fifth house in Capricorn very often indicates a focus on balancing that creative expression, personal joy, fun, leisure, entertainment with practical, mundane responsibilities, long-term goals as well. So here during this time, you might have this really strong need to find a structured and disciplined approach to your artistic projects, goals, anything to do with your own business as well. The fifth house deals with self-employment, freelancing. So during this time, you might have to incorporate more of a disciplined approach to your work. But at the same time, this full moon may also signify a time for reevaluating how you can integrate that fun side of life and self-expression in your long-term plans, goals, ambitions as well. We've got a square to Neptune in Pisces, and Saturn is unaspected. This is about taking charge of your life. Because if you don't, then no one will. You might have this kind of feeling like, I have to do it. At this point, you might feel like, am I ready? So there could be some fear as well. There could be fear, hesitation, because that's what Capricorn energy can also be connected to, especially with a square. Suddenly, that self-doubt and negative self-talk could come into play. And this can in turn prompt you to reevaluate how you can integrate fun, leisure, entertainment into your long-term plans, goals, hopes, ambitions as well. Just to find a healthy balance between your responsibilities, work, but also that fun side of life. Now, the square aspect between the full moon in Capricorn and your Neptune in Pisces suggests potential tension or perhaps even challenges related to that creative self-expression, romantic side of your life, idealism even. And this aspect may also bring to light any issues connected to setting boundaries or maintaining boundaries, or perhaps having realistic expectations, or perhaps distinguishing between fact and illusions, especially in matters related to creativity, pleasure, self-expression. So here it's important for you to find a healthy balance between those practical considerations and that imaginative and creative side of your life. Now, this full moon might also prompt you to take a closer look at your project, at your business, at your work. See whether you need to implement more structure. See whether you have to perhaps plan more constructively and more effectively. Are you using your time effectively and efficiently? Or perhaps do you need to work on your time management because you're too distracted by external influences? So this sort of dynamics may also come up around this time. All right, so thank you, Virgos. And now let's have a look at the next sign. And this is Libra. Hello, Libras, and welcome. So we've got a fourth house activation here. And what this means is that here your emotions will likely be heightened, your feelings, but also there's a strong attention during this full moon turned upon your domestic life, family, and home-related matters. And here you might be seeking more comfort, more emotional fulfillment at your home, but at the same time, during the duration of this full moon, you might have this really strong awareness of your personal needs, of your personal desires. Now, this full moon could also signify a period of intensified introspection. You might feel like spending time at home, doing things at home, and you might be asking yourself questions whether you are satisfied with the current home situation or with the current living arrangements, or whether something needs to change. And if so, then what? Now, here during a full moon in the fourth house, we often seek more comfort, more stability, more security in our personal life. Now we've got a square to Neptune in Pisces at this time, and this can suggest that there could be some complex energies, complex interplay of energies happening around this time. And here, this aspect may indicate heightened sensitivity to home and family matters, with a strong potential for confusion or perhaps idealization of your domestic situation. Or alternatively, here, this is a time when you really need to know when to distinguish fantasy from reality, because it's very easy to set unrealistic goals or to have unrealistic expectations of our family members when Saturn is squaring this full moon. So it's all about being grounded in the reality, realistic and practical around this time. Here with the full moon in the fourth house also, it's an amazing time for decluttering, for doing a home clear out. It's really beneficial. You've got two full months here in June and July, so you might really enjoy dedicating some of your energy to get rid of things that you don't no longer need. You might be also changing how you do things at home. Perhaps you'll be rearranging some things at home as well, to find more comfort, to find more stability, to find more structure as well. Okay, so thank you very much, Libras. Now let's have a look at Scorpios. All right, so Scorpios, this is your third house activation. When there's a full moon in the third house, this often signifies a time of increased communication, mental activity, social interactions as well. And this could be a period where your thoughts, your ideas are especially prominent. It's an amazing full moon for networking, especially with those in your immediate environment. Now, here, the third house, traditionally connected to the energy of Gemini, the energy of movement. So perhaps you will be restructuring your business, your daily routine, how you commute, to work, or perhaps how you commute to school to drop off or pick up your kids. Perhaps you will have a stronger need for staying fit. Perhaps you'll be cycling more. This was the case for me. I went cycling yesterday, actually, and it was great. And I'm planning on doing more of that. So, right. So definitely that energy of cycling, walking, moving, exploring, learning, studying, reading, communicating is here definitely highlighted during this full moon energy. This is a great time for writing, for engaging in activities that are of an intellectual nature overall. Now, with that Capricorn energy, this is also a time when you might be doing some serious thinking. But here, the energies are centered around that practical, mundane side of life. Nothing too big, even though the sun is in the ninth house, Venus, Mercury. But at the time of the full moon, we pay attention to what's around us, so our surroundings, our neighbors, people in our immediate environment, on that practical, mundane part of life. So you might be doing some serious thinking, you might be engaging in activities connected to podcasting, writing, or perhaps this could be connected to also to working with your siblings on a specific goal, idea, project. Now, here the third house also deals with movement, of course, travel. So this could be about a trip that you'll be taking, but at the same time, we've got a square to Neptune in Pisces at this time. So basically with a squares represent tension, squares represent a certain degree of a limitation or obstacle that you may have to overcome, but at the same time, under the influence of Neptune, it's really important to remember to distinguish the fantasy from reality. So pay attention, because you might be easily externally influenced, especially when you hear something or when you meet with another person, their opinion might really influence you. So just stay grounded in the reality. And it's not a good time for making any major, crazy decisions because you might actually regret the outcomes. So it's all about the step-by-step approach, staying grounded in the reality as well. And overall, here, with a square to Neptune, this could also indicate the heightened sensitivity when it comes to communication, mental processes as well. And of course, a potential for confusion and idealization. So it's something to keep in mind as well. All right, so thank you very much. Sagittarius, welcome. We've got a full moon happening in your second house. So here, your financial stability, security, your personal values and money overall is highlighted. Now, the ruler of this house, of this full moon more specifically, is Capricorn. Capricorn is unaspected. So here, what this hints at is self-reliance, independence, financial independence as well. Perhaps if you've been overly codependent, this full moon or these two full moons will prompt you to perhaps get out of this situation and become more financially sufficient, self-sufficient, or financially independent, for example. But overall, there's a strong focus upon your practical matters, of course, but especially the ones related to finances, security, material resources, possessions. So having said that, you might be decluttering your house, getting rid of things that you don't need anymore. But at the same time, this is a time when you might be reevaluating your goals, your objectives, reassessing your financial goals more specifically. And this could be also when you might be engaging in activities, books, for example, reading books that will generally be connected to the issue of self-worth or self-esteem. So this kind of dynamics could be also the case. So overall, that Capricorn energy, full moon in Capricorn in his second house, you take a more of a disciplined approach when it comes to managing your resources, your finances. And at the same time, this is a time to also consider your values, to consider your priorities, especially related to money, resources, possessions. And perhaps this could be also a time between June and July when you will be making adjustments, changes to achieve a greater stability, security in your life, especially if you feel like there hasn't been much security or structure in your financial area in the recent past. Now, this full moon forms a tense out of sign square with Neptune in Pisces, and this could indicate a potential obstacle, perhaps some challenges related to practical matters, financial stability. And overall, here under the influence of these energies, there's a tendency towards idealism or perhaps confusion, especially in matters related to money, especially in matters related to finances, your income. Now, on the one hand, you might have this really strong need, desire for security, stability, this, to be more disciplined here in the financial sector. But at the same time, that energy in the square from Neptune and Pisces could also make you want to perhaps withdraw from or escape, move away temporarily from any financial issues, obligations you might be experiencing or you may have been experiencing recently. Pay attention also because with Neptune involved and a square in play, there's a tendency also to overlook some important details. So if you'll be dealing with some important, or if you'll be making some important transactions or financial decisions, make sure that you read everything carefully because you might very easily overlook an important detail or perhaps press enter before double checking the information. Perhaps you'll pay too much or send the wrong document. So it's important to generally be aware of these energies and tendencies around this time. All right, so here we go. Thank you very much. And now let's look at Capricorns. All right, Capricorns, welcome. We've got a full moon happening in your first house, the first out of the two full moons. And the first one is at 1 degree. The second one will be at 29 anaretic degrees. So there will be that feeling of now or never. But the first one deals with a premature energy situation, something that maybe is still not fully clear, understandable, but at the same time, the square to Neptune in Pisces and out of sign square could also bring further confusion and delusion. So here we've got a first house activation. What is this about? This is about self-expression, your identity, anything to do with your style, how you present yourself to the outside world. Now, here, this full moon might also bring a heightened awareness when it comes to your ambitions, achievements, or perhaps the image that you project to others. This full moon might also prompt you to reflect upon your objectives, goals, and your approach to your responsibilities, duties in your life. With Saturn being unaspected at this point, at the time of this full moon, you might have this really strong urge to take charge of your life and take action as per that cardinal energy. Here, this energy could also stimulate you to make significant changes that will align with your purpose, that will align with your long-term goals, hopes, ambitions. During this time, you might be also seeking recognition for your hard work, for your achievements. So here with the first house full moon, your personal identity, self-expression, how you present yourself in the outside or to the world overall is really highlighted. And generally, this full moon brings a heightened awareness when it comes to your achievements, ambitions. Now, this is a time when you might be also reflecting upon your goals, objectives for the future. And at the same time, we've got an out of sign square with Neptune in Pisces. And this suggests a potential challenge or perhaps a tension between that practical side of your psyche and idealism or delusion or unrealistic expectations you may have of yourself. So here, this aspect would also bring a sense of confusion or maybe even uncertainty, especially when it comes to your goals, when it comes to your plans, your objectives. As mentioned in the previous horoscope, it's really important to be present in the moment, grounded in the reality, but at the same time, pay attention because there's a tendency under the influence of these energies, of this blend of energies, um, to be overly influenced by illusions or some unrealistic expectations, as I mentioned just a moment ago, or perhaps some wishful thinking during this time. So here it's essential to remember to distinguish between the reality and confusion or illusion. If something is too good to be true, then maybe it is. For the full moon energy in your first house, you might be also redefining your goals, objectives, maybe changing your physical appearance as well between June and July. This could be very much the case as well, especially since Saturn is also going to station retrograde on the 29th of June until November the 15th. And this can really prompt you to redefine your identity, or perhaps I think you'll be taking a closer look at your life from a very different angle and perspective. 2 full months in your first house, in your sign, plus Saturn retrograde. I think there is some kind of transformation, a shift of energy going on a deeper level, something to do with your identity, persona, maybe even physical appearance, but you are undergoing a shift, I think, with Pluto having almost left your first house, and so much emphasis now upon your Capricorn here ascendant. Something about you is shifting. You are changing. Maybe your approach to life. Maybe you are moving away from some old patterns. And this is like a new you is emerging in the process. So it's really interesting. All right. So thank you very much, Capricorns. And now Aquarius. Okay, Aquarius, welcome. We've got a full moon happening in your 12th house. Whenever there is a full moon in the 12th house, this is usually a time of withdrawal, contemplation, reevaluation of our life achievements, and take some time for yourself. Don't be afraid to withdraw, even if it's for a couple of hours. Take a walk outside in nature, or just sit down with a book or a cup of tea. You need some peace and quiet to truly understand what is actually going on, because here that 12th house energy can be confusing at times. And it can make us feel like a little bit lost, especially if we don't dedicate a little bit of time in order to truly understand what's going on in our mind. Because here, there is a lot of introspective energy here in the 12th house, connected to withdrawal, contemplation. But here you've got lots of energies in the 6th house as well. So, of course, Cancer season is a busy season for you with that 6th house influence. The 6th house deals with hard work, labor. So there will be quite a lot of activity happening, but dedicate some time during this full moon for yourself, for your own well-being. Now, here the focus on during this full moon is on your spiritual matters, your subconscious, but also hidden aspects of your life. Now, with the 12th house Capricorn full moon, you might feel like withdrawing from the outside world. You might feel like you're absorbing other people's energies very easily, and you just need to recharge yourself. Maybe take a nice bath with some sea salt or bath bombs, whatever it is. I think you need to purify yourself because you'll be very sensitive to external influences around these 2 full moons in June, July. Now, at the same time, here, you might also feel a pull towards exploring your inner world, your inner psyche. So it's a great time for also learning about your own chart through astrology, investigating the energy in your natal chart. You might enjoy learning about yourself on a much deeper level, but at the same time, during this full moon, you might be addressing some hidden fears, phobias, unresolved issues. And perhaps this is also a time when you'll be seeking spiritual fulfillment. By facing the fear, you are also allowing healing to commence. Now, at the same time, pay attention to your dreams, pay attention to your intuition. It will be very strong around this time. Now, for some Aquarius rising, June, July could be also about helping others, volunteering or engaging in activities within your community, for example, community service, for instance. There's a lot of compassionate energy activated with that, the 12th house full moon, energy connected to empathy as well. We've got a square to Neptune in Pisces at this time. And what this means is that there is a potential challenge or tension between the need for practicality and the influence of illusion, confusion, delusion. And overall, this aspect can also bring uncertainty to a certain extent, especially when it comes to your private life, the spiritual side of your life, for example, your life path, your life purpose, and the hidden aspects of your life. So here during this full moon, you might enjoy grounding exercises, meditation, yoga. You need to connect to the earth. If you don't feel grounded, if you feel like you're too much in your mind, too much in your head, and it's difficult to concentrate, then practice some grounding exercises. Meditation is also very helpful if you're seeking answers to some important questions you may have. It might be also, apart from being externally influenced by other people, situations, events, experiences, you might be also overly influenced by wishful and realistic thinking. It's okay to dream, it's okay to plan and then daydream, but when it comes to making some important decisions, then it's this full moon really prompts you to take a step-by-step approach, because there's a lot of confusing energy mixed with that practical and determined energy of Capricorn. At the same time, with a full moon in the 12th house, it's a great time for moving away from any unhealthy routines, habits, patterns that negatively contribute to your well-being. All right, so now let's have a look at Pisces. Thank you very much. Hello, Pisces, and welcome. We've got an 11th house activation here for you, which deals with friendships and networking, anything to do with our long-term goals, plans, our social network, aspirations for the future. So here, this full moon is prompting you to reflect on your role within your social circle, within groups that you belong to. Anything to do with long-term goals, hopes, dreams, plans for the future as well. Now, during this time here, bear in mind, we've got two full months in this area of life in Capricorn. One is in June, one is in July. You might be also reevaluating your friendships, your stand within your social circle, for example. And perhaps you might be also seeking recognition for your hard work, achievements. Now, on a different level here with the full moon in the 11th house, perhaps you'll be engaged in some group activities, teamwork, working with others towards a common cause, a common objective, or a goal. Here, perhaps you'll be leaving or joining a group. Perhaps this could also mean that someone might also depart from your life as new people arrive, and there's this exchange of energies. So this could be about changes in your social circle, in the friendship zone. Perhaps this could be also about you joining new groups, new communities. And there is this shift of energy going on. It's generally making you evaluate your associations, your friendships. So here during this time, we've got a square with Neptune in Pisces happening, and this could generally mean certain degree of tension between your goals, hopes, aspirations, social connections, friendships, and the influence of illusion, confusion, delusion. Now, this square aspect, an out of sign square, could also bring a feeling of uncertainty when it comes to a certain connection in your life. You're belonging to a certain group or community, for instance. You have to pay attention because you might be easily externally influenced around this time, especially when it comes to your social circle. Now, this square out of sign aspect could also bring a certain degree of uncertainty, especially in the matters related to your hopes, to your dreams, to your friendships, your involvement in certain groups, for example. So here it's really important to remember about setting clear boundaries, especially with other people in your everyday life around this full moon. Now, on a different level here, this is also connected to having very high expectation, either of yourself or of other people. Here, staying grounded in their reality, staying present is really essential during this full moon because Neptune could bring confusion, delusion, or perhaps if you have too high expectations of yourself or of others, then this can lead to disappointment. So if we are aware of these energies of or potential tendencies that these energies could bring, then we can be one step ahead of these sort of dynamics and situations. So thank you very much, Pisces.